You're on your own tonight. The gallery can get a bit creepy. It's old. Things rattle. Just do a circuit every now and then and head back to reception when you're tired. If anyone tries to break in, call me. Or the police. Actually, police and then me. But you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Have a good night.
Welcome to Merlhaven's Unsolved Mysteries. Tonight, we'll be trying to solve the murder of Merlhaven's most famous artist, Mordecai Gray, brutally murdered in his loft last year, on the night of All Hallows Eve. Gray had been painting 6 portraitures at the time. They were all suspects according to Justice Hoon, but Hoon was unable to convict any of them. Could there still be a killer on the loose? Was it Dominic Serrell, the lush burlesque dancer? Or Otto Pipistrel, our now famously cancelled ventriloquist? Or perhaps Lilith Rendell, the island's only undertaker? Gray was also painting Sunday Finch, our twinless tennis star, Xavier Hahn, the reclusive clockmaker, and finally, Vice Justice Catherine Myers. Perhaps Justice Hoon was covering up for his understudy. We have all the juicy details coming up, but before we discuss those murderous muses, let's delve into the mind of a killer by retracing their footsteps on that fateful day.
Welcome to Gallery Argenta. I'm Jamie, your jovial art museum information educator. Push my buttons and see how I respond. Welcome to Gallery Argenta. I'm Jamie. arresting dreamscape was the second painting in Gray's dream period. Mordecai never revealed what the painting was supposed to represent, and only spoke about it in one rare interview, where he claimed that he could still hear that infernal tick, tick, tick. Controversially, some people say they can see pagan imagery in the piece. A staple of popular folklore, the so-called Butcher of Merlehaven was the villain of many tales of missing pets, vanished children, and cannibalism. The island's modern-day butcher, however, takes a more cosmopolitan
During the
approach.
freak fish storm of 1976, the first mayor of Merlehaven was hit on the head by Majesty, breaking his neck and ending his reign for good. Some scholars believe the fish storm was caused by a Concorde flight from England, whilst others point to a more sinister ceremony near the henge. Either way, Mayor Spence sleeps with the fishes now. The chalk cellars are home to one of Merlehaven's largest exports, Merle Port wine. Using water from a natural spring in the Aurora Woods, the wine is said to have great healing and sometimes hallucinogenic properties. It's also the only alcohol that licensed premises can serve at all times of the day. Generally recognized as one of Mordecai Gray's more whimsical pieces, this painting depicts Marie's farm in 1975, when farmer Marie Abernathy claimed she woke up to find all her chickens were levitating, as if lifted by an invisible hand. Marie's story was met with ridicule, with some blaming it on the work of a poultrygeist, while others called for an exorcist. Perfectionist surgeon turned clockmaker Xavier Hahn is Merlehaven's most in-demand artisan. He took a small hiatus when his mother died. Professor Catherine Myers is Merlehaven's current Vice Justice, serving under Justice Hoon, and is directly responsible. Otto and Pip are Merlehaven's most famous comedy duo, having secured Best Comedic Performance. As the last remaining funeral director on the island, Lilith Rendell ferries Merlehaven's souls to their final destination. Angel, better known as her alter ego, Miss Moonstruck, talented whilst pioneering carbon-neutral cremations and burials using compostable coffins. One surprising fact in Merlehaven's natural history is the dramatic increase in starlings populating the island. Numbers of these iridescent birds have massively declined on the UK mainland, yet Merlehaven seems to attract more and more every day, leading to several spectacular. Better known as her alter ego, Miss Moonstruck, talented dancer Dominique Serrant regularly performs her bewitching blend of ballet and burlesque at the Moonstruck Lounge.
at one time set for stardom. Welcome to Gallery. During an excavation of the henge in 2011, a hive of secret passageways and rooms was found running all the way to the Aurora Woods and beyond. This giant crystal ball is one of the few artifacts recovered during the dig, and due to the Gray's painting of the Aurora Woods is often compared to Edvard Munch's The Scream for the curvature they share. But Merlehaven residents have noticed another pattern. For them, the Aurora Woods is sister to the undulating hills, and they do share physical borders.
Wake up. Wake up. Oh, wake up! Yes. Xavier Hahn hardly finished anything he started. His mother hated him, his wife tried to kill him, and like a smitten schoolboy, he fell in love with his teacher. You see them too, don't you? From what I can tell, the catacombs under the henge served as a safe place for the witches of Merlehaven for years. The excavation in 2011 was paid for by the Argenta family. I suppose they'd moved their stuff out by then. The Aurora Woods really do scream. Allegedly, due to their strange molecular structure, they let out an unpleasant shrieking sound each time they are hit by an axe. I think it's more to do with all the drownings they've seen. Either way, I'd use a chainsaw. Starlings are Earth's spiritual guardians that often migrate to places where immense evil is brewing. In Merlehaven's case, they're gathering on the very creature that rose out of the ocean almost 70 years ago. What do they know that we don't? Dominique, the burlesque ballerina. Whilst it seemed like everything was against her, I think we all know Dominique only had herself to blame. Xavier Hahn hardly finished anything. Lilith Rendell ate up everyone and everything that got in her way. If you knew her real secret, you'd be as good as dead. But on the bright side, she'd handle everything for you. Sunday and Monday Finch, spoiled brats whose names were almost as pretentious as they were. They thought they were so perfect, but they were born with fatal flaws. Otto Pipistrel, a drunken womanizer who became increasingly jealous of the puppet he'd created. A puppet that had outgrown its master and was pulling its own strings. Vice Justice Catherine Myers, a narcissistic megalomaniac who thrives on controlling others. Fortunately, Mordecai managed to shake off her spell.
Thank you for calling the TIPS hotline. TIPS hotline can reveal one of the innocent suspects. This is a paid-for service. Please hang up, insert payment, and redial. Have a nice day.
Thank you for calling the TIPS hotline. TIPS hotline can reveal one of the innocent suspects. This is a paid-for service. Please hang up, insert payment, and redial. Have a nice day.
I'm Higgins, and I stopped questioning why or how this place existed a long time ago. I've updated the recordings with the truth for your listening pleasure.
To successfully charge somebody with murder, you need to prove that they had the opportunity to carry out the deadly deed. So, where and when exactly? To successfully charge somebody with murder, you need to prove that they had the opportunity to carry out the deadly deed. So, where and when exactly was Mordecai Gray murdered? Here's what we know. At 7 p.m. on the 31st of October, Gray was scheduled to reveal his latest exhibition of portraits at Gallery Argenta. The last time he was seen or heard by anyone was when he delivered the final portraits to the gallery at 3 p.m. He told the gallery manager he had a final errand to run and that he'd be back before the grand opening. But he never came back. According to the coroner, Mordecai was murdered at precisely 7 p.m., the same time his exhibition opened. Where was he murdered? In his artist's loft on Sunvale Parade, the same place the body was found. So it's likely our killer wouldn't have had a corroborated alibi for the time of the murder.
I'm Higgins.
I see we haven't been burgled, so that's great. You didn't hear any scratching in the ceiling, did you? I keep putting traps and bait down, but I know they're there. Rats, probably. Too big for mice. You see any droppings, you let me know. They're fairly nocturnal, so your best place to spot them.
One surprising fact in Merlehaven's natural history is the dramatic increase in starlings populating the island. Numbers of these iridescent birds have massively declined on the UK mainland. Welcome to Gallery Argenta. During an excavation of Steve Stewart famously transported the dead in a distinctive blue station wagon until a macabre car accident in 1992 robbed him of his life and his head. Since then, several sightings of a decapitated man driving a blue hearse have given rise to the legend of the Headless Horseman. Merlehaven Island was discovered in 1953 by crab fishermen who'd sailed too far out of the wash. The island was populated by many great auk, even though they had been declared extinct over 100 years before. These penguin-like creatures are still celebrated in Merlehaven's annual Auk Festival. better known as her alter... Merlehaven's picture postcard lighthouse was built soon after sailors arrived on the island and was tended by lighthouse keeper Leon Knoll for an incredible 53 years. After Leon's retirement in 2010, the lighthouse stopped working, and any attempts to fix it have been in vain. Mordecai Gray appeared to have a strange fascination with the building, and it appears in several of his works. Saviour's bell was originally sounded to warn islanders of trouble at sea, but its ringing soon became synonymous with drownings instead. Gray's painting depicts Saviour's bell in action at Merlehaven docks, but it was dismantled in 1975 when it was acquired by Gallery Argenta. Despite its removal, some say they can still hear its doleful chimes on stormy nights. A staple of popular... Welcome to... The chalk cellars are home to one of Merlehaven's largest exports, Merle Port wine. Using water... Although the cause of the undulating hill's hypnotic rise and fall has yet to be found, geologists believe it's shaped by underground thermodynamics. Digging down has proved impossible, as the hill's rubber-like surface is impenetrable, and visitors who attempt the trip frequently experience blackouts and other disturbing side effects. Merlehaven is famously close to the spirit world, with many saying the fabric of the universe is stretched unnaturally thin here. Gray believed that most past inhabitants of Merlehaven were still on the island, including his mother. Generally recognized as one of Mordecai Gray's This arresting dreamscape Revenge of the Lake Woman is another work from Gray's dream period, depicting a woman rising from the lake in Aurora Woods. Some people speculate it's semi-autobiographical, as Gray's mother drowned in the same place when he was just 5 years old. During an excavation of the henge in Originally an unorganized burial ground for the first settlers, the plot was turned into the largest solitary graveyard on the island, with thousands of headstones honoring the dead. Only Merlehaven residents with pre-booked plots can be buried here now. The henge is a rock formation. Welcome to
I've just had a call from Lord Barnet asking to loan one of Gray's portraits. They're having a charity auction, they want a centrepiece. Could you be a love and pick one for me? Just leave it in reception, I'll call in for it. I'll be back tomorrow.
Welcome to gallery.
I'm a bit disappointed you didn't leave a portrait out for me. Perhaps you forgot? I've picked one anyway. I hope it wasn't your favourite. Maybe you can help me out next time? Okay.
I'm Higgins. And I stopped questioning why or how this place existed a long time ago. I've updated the recordings with the truth. Something has changed. Dominique.
As you might have realized by now, Mordecai Gray was not having a great Halloween. After being incapacitated, Gray's assailant proceeded to tie him to a chair with a piece of climbing rope that was found at the scene. Gray himself was not a climber, and there was no reason to believe the rope had started life in his loft. A later analysis concluded the murderer had some kind of chalk residue on their hands that had been transferred to the rope during bondage. Whilst chalk is commonly used as a component of many things, the forensics examiner was adamant they were looking for a killer who either weightlifted at Merlehaven's gym, was a rock climber, or a patron of Daxon's sporting goods. But doesn't it also mean that our murder was premeditated? Whoever tied Mordecai up, they had something they wanted to say to him before dealing the final blow. To successfully charge somebody with
No. 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 Yes.
Yes, very Mona Lisa. Yes.
There is actually another room in the gallery that was built over. But you only need to patrol the parts that you can get into. Don't go knocking down walls. And be extra vigilant tonight. They've reopened Gray's murder case and I've got a bad feeling about it. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Welcome to Gallery. Professor Catherine Myers is Merlehaven's current Vice Justice. The triumvirate were elected by the first settlers to help shape Merlehaven's future. The judge upholds the rule of law, the mayor oversees policy making, and the mage shelters all citizens together under one spiritual umbrella, regardless of their beliefs. The Merlehaven Butterfly Park and Centre for Tourism is on the north coast of the island and is home to over 2,000 exotic butterflies from all over the world. Merlehaven has its own unique butterfly species too, a merlefly, which resembles a red admiral but with asymmetrical markings on its wings. On the 16th of April 1953, the crew of a fishing trawler first discovered Merlehaven Island. This day would come to be known as Merlehaven Day, the island's birthday, and every year it's celebrated with the arrival of the Orc Fair. Crystal balls were banned on Merlehaven in the mid-1970s, along with all paraphernalia of divination, and now only appear in painted form or behind secure enclosures for educational purposes. The triumvirate, who jointly agreed to the necessity of the new law, cited the protection of mental health as the primary reason. No one knows who she is, but rumors abound. Mordecai's first love? His first wife? An ancestor? But why all the blood? Endearingly nicknamed the Mordecai Lisa, Some say she bears a striking resemblance to his mother. The loop depicts the main road encircling Merlehaven that runs around the island and back again in the shape of a Mobius strip. Gray said that if you stand still for long enough on the loop, you'll meet everyone on the island. The fabled great auk was originally thought to be extinct when the last specimens were killed in 1844 on Eldey, off the coast of Iceland. But they reappeared in 1953 along with Merlehaven itself. Sadly, for the remaining auk, they were hunted to extinction again by the crab fishermen who settled here. The Baconian was founded in 1967 by Olivia Argenta, who believed Sir Francis Bacon was the true author of the works generally associated with Shakespeare. To this day, any play originally thought to be by Shakespeare can only be performed at the Baconian if it is credited to Sir Francis in the programme. Merlehaven welcomes people of all religions, and today, Merlehaven Chapel is at the heart of the community.
Hey, could you set aside a couple of Gray's portraits for me, please? Just leave them in reception. One of them's going to be going on a permanent vacation, so don't pick your favourites. Thanks.
Welcome to Gallery.
I'm a bit disappointed you didn't leave a portrait out for me. Perhaps you forgot? I've picked one anyway. I hope it wasn't your favourite. Maybe you can help me out next time? Okay.
find the crystal ball. From what I can tell, the catacombs under the henge served as a safe place for the witches of Merlehaven for years. See how her mysterious eyes follow you around the room? I know her name, and I'm not going to tell you. It was actually Angel Abernathy, Marie's daughter, that caused all those chickens to levitate. Marie knew that too, because Angel had been trying to cast a scrying spell to find her lost basset hound, but she accidentally summoned a rather grumpy spirit instead. This wouldn't have been a problem had there not been so many witnesses, along with the triumvirate having just criminalized all forms of divination. It's no surprise that over 90% of Merlehaven tourists have already tasted the pleasures of Merleport wine before their arrival. It's almost as if it contained an ingredient that was luring them here. The triumvirate tried to out-and-out ban burials decades ago, but that kicked off a revolution from grieving Merlers. So instead, they passed a law limiting the size of the burial ground and gave council aid to Merlers who cremated their relatives. If you don't fall into either of those categories, you're either buried at sea or fed to the undulating hills. I'm Hick. That rubber-like surface on the undulating hills is in fact the skin of the North Sea creature that we're currently standing on. Merlehaven isn't an island, it's a monstrous godlike octopus that's taking a bath. The Butcher of Merlehaven has always been one of the most respected inhabitants, with that title being passed down generationally and still unsullied. The current owners are the Milgrams. Their family crest motto is "Eat the Rich," which sounds pretty fair, considering the state of the world today. If you sit along the coastline of Merlehaven on the 16th of April, at around 10:30 you will see an army of ghost orcs deployed to the beach. It's the anniversary of their extinction. They know what you did, and they're not happy about it. Most of Mordecai's dream works were created autonomically, channeling the will and the way of the heart of Merlehaven itself. The future is a message to the rest of the planet, showing a clock ticking in Mother Nature, superimposed with the rituals of humanity, depicted as a pentagram. It's a prediction of death by climate change. Nothing more, nothing less. Our drunken crab-fishing forefathers couldn't build a road in a straight line, hence the loop. Xavier Hahn hardly finished anything he started.
Thank you for calling the TIPS hotline. TIPS hotline can reveal one of the innocent suspects. This is a paid-for...
Thanks for calling the TIPS hotline. I'm Brianna, and I'll be helping you today. In your current universe, the following suspect is innocent. Xavier. Have a nice day.
Xavier Hahn hardly... I'm Higgins, and I stopped questioning why.
Gallery Argenta's been in the Argenta family for over 100 years. Originally it was used exclusively to show and sell the artwork from the family. But nowadays Miss Argenta opens it up to the public. I get to choose most of the exhibits myself. Well, I pick a handful and then she picks from those, but same difference.
If I find them, when I find them, I'm going to make them bring Monday back. Or I'll blow the whole thing wide open. Tell everyone who the great Goddard and Constance Finch really are.
I was bluffing. No one would have believed me anyway. You're a celebrated artist. You have all the power. Who am I?
Don't you just hate blackmailers? Tell people what you want. You don't have any proof. I'll tell them you've been stealing and abusing bodies from my morgue.
Nobody will believe you. What will you tell them? That the Vice Justice is correcting people in her correctional facility. People don't care how it's done. They just want it to be done.
She'd stabbed me a lot. I was bleeding out, but she just couldn't kill me. She knew she was going to be in trouble, so we were just haggling about how much. She'd stabbed me.
Nobody will believe.
Don't you just hate?
I was bluffing. No one would have believed me anyway. You're...
If I...
banning all paraphernalia of divination was passed to stop the dead talking about what Mayor Spence had done to them. The triumvirate did what it always does. It protected itself, leaving regular people at the mercy of the afterlife without any ability to communicate with it. Dominique, the burlesque bell. I have nothing to say about this. I have nothing to say about this. I have nothing to say about this.
Well, this is awkward. No, I did not kill Mordecai, so that's an unforced error on your part. Shall I put you out of your misery? Don't try and blackmail an embalmer. We're brilliant at self-preservation.
Well, that's it for the Grey exhibition. Time to pack up the paintings until next year. I wonder if they'll ever solve his murder. Probably not. Anyway, you better head off. Unless you want to do some overtime?